I need us to understand that this whole awakening is onto something. The ancestors, the powers that be, will not just call us to wake up and it be for nothing. We are not just waking up from the lies. So the question that we have to ask ourselves is that when you have woken up from the lies, or when you are awake, where do you go? What do you do? What next? So the joy of finally getting to know the truth excites a lot of people to forget that there is life actually happening at the same time. You still got to pay your bills. You still got to go to school. You still got to be a parent. You still got to go to job. You still got to do all the things that you're still doing. So if the awakening is not going to influence or have an impact in your day-to-day, then there's no point waking up. Because the lies crept us, it suppressed us, for us not to explore, for us not to come out and do the things that we are assigned to do. So when you wake up, whatever level of life that you find yourself, you have to increase. You have to be better. You have to be productive. Multiplicity of everything that you lay your hands to do must manifest. It must show that indeed I've come to the truth and here are the results. Waking up to the truth is not just staying in history. It's being equipped for the future. Because whether you like it or not, whether you understand what I'm saying right now or not, I don't care what names you would give me, the future is inevitable. And the things that are coming in the future have nothing to do, and I'm saying this carefully, have nothing to do with the kind of past that you have, or the kind of past that you experienced, or the past that you went through. The future that is coming has everything to do with how well you are prepared. If you are ready, you are prepared enough to embrace what is coming, then you care less about how it's going to turn out, because you know you're good. So the part of the awakening is that you come to this place where you know you're good. You know, I'm good. If that is not the bottom line, then what is the point of waking up? You know you're good. Your family is good. Your finances is good. You have a place to lay your head. You are being productive. You are blessing the community. You are blessing the society that you find yourself in. You are making an impact. So waking up is for you to have a transformed life, for this life to come and influence your communities, the environment, our families, to come and influence who we are. This is why we are studying the truth. We are not just studying a piece of history, because the world will not stop because you just woke up to your history. The world is still moving forward. Things are going to get crazier, because the more people become aggressive and power drunk, the more they do insane things. How prepared are you for the future that is ahead? I can stay here the whole day. But you know what? Let me stick to what I want to talk about today. Akwaba. Mama bibiara akwaba ni anum na dofo oye manager bebrede. Oduma nkoma na daroma. Asase ya mame, straight to me, asase to me na na ofeja hima, na na mframa. Ye na nanuma when you won baby ako. Obi biara or share efi asamando, nsamando, efi wiase ahora o wiase nyinaa mu yɛda obi biara ase da wɔka yɛn ho wɔreboa yɛn wɔreboa me busua yi wei so asɔre wei bɛduru pɛmpɛndra ɔdɔ oduru no many je kɛsɛ wɔ me. So I'm excited, I'm humbled that we are here as a family and we keep learning. One of the things that I love about our Zoom community is that we have a lot of teachers there. And at the same time, these teachers are willing to learn. It's such a humbling place. There's a humble spirit. Everybody is excited to teach, but at the same time, everybody is learning. And I applaud everybody in the Zoom community. You guys are amazing, and I love you. That is the kind of environment that I want us to grow. That's the kind of environment that I want our children, our children's children, our grandchildren to grow at. And you are doing just that even here. That is how come I know when we move physically into our community, we would indeed have an awesome community. Empath, the subject of empath. I personally didn't look at it like it's something that has to be different from who you are as a human being. Every single human on the face of this earth needs to have a level of empathy. So empath is something that you need to have. We all need a level of that. So it was interesting that this question came up in the Zoom community. I was like, should I address it? Should I not address it? I'm like, wait a minute. At the end of the day, we are growing together as a family. We are building a community that your children, my children, can finally be at ease and do whatever they want to do. Dream of whatever dream they want to dream about, because they know that this dream is definitely happening. They know. So I'm excited dealing with this subject because it's in line with the kind of community we are building down here. Every day I'm on phones, I'm calling elders, and I'm asking constantly about lands. I'm inquiring about a lot of lands. It's not like we don't have lands, but we need a lot more because a lot of people are going to come home. We need to build a safe haven for our people. We need to. And this, I can say it freely on the internet, but as to the plans, why, what, I can never say it here on YouTube. But we need to build our own safe haven that is blessing and impacting your life. Impact. I love this word because let me start from this place. The human being is the most ultimate mechanism that is on the face of this earth. The human being is the ultimate mechanism that is on the face of this earth. Every single invention or creation that is scientifically or technologically made on the face of the earth is made because of the study of the human being, the mechanism that we are. What we mean by human being being a mechanism, what I simply mean is that anything that is working, anything that is systematically working, something that can produce result consistently, something that can yield result consistently, is of course a systematic and an effective mechanism. Mechanism is a system that is set in place to reproduce something, or a process set in place, a structure that is set in place to go through a process to reproduce a particular thing over a period of time. So this is the most sophisticated, but at the same time, the most complete mechanism on the face of the earth. You, I, your body, this body It took 9 months for this body to be produced. So of course, detailing is kept into this body to ensure that this body becomes that effective mechanism that never fails. I mean, it's producing something constantly. There's a result. This body, this mechanism is giving you results every single day. So if we fail to understand that this body that we have, or the human being, the entire being, is the most complete mechanism, then whatever it is that is working, whatever it is that is giving the results, the outcomes that we consistently see, hear, and feel, is such a beautiful mess. If it's a mess, then it's such a beautiful mess, or it's such a wonderful coincidence to have this thing function at the rate that it does and produce the results that it gives at the end of the day. Then this mistake, it's something that everybody should yearn for. Then what a mess, because if this thing is screwed on, is screwed on and is supposed to do a particular thing and is doing it well, then it's not a mess at all. It's a beautiful thing. But if it's not functioning the way that it's supposed to function, then what a complete mess, because this mess is doing a hell of a job. So it's either you have a great mechanism that is working for you as an individual, or you are such a crazy mess. Because if everything is giving you everything you're supposed to have, then that is amazing. But if everything is giving you what you were not supposed to have, then the question is, what were you supposed to have? If you're getting a result that you're getting now, that is not the original intent of the Creator, then what a mess. Then it only leaves the question, what could have been the real result? So you cannot be both. It's either you are this efficient mechanism that is working so perfectly, or you are this big of a mess and a joke that has no clue what it's supposed to do, but is just bringing out something. And both of these two are choices that we are making every single day. So it's either you are this or you are that. It's not because somebody came out into this dimension properly organized as an efficient mechanism, and somebody else came into this dimension totally screwed up. It's not like that. What is happening on the inside of us, everybody is got the same dosage, if I should use that word. Yes, it's true without a doubt that our physique looks different. We have different eyes, we have different nose, we have different mouth, we have different ears. Some are short, some are tall, some are big, some are small, some are fast, some are slow. The outcomes are different, or the physics, the physicals are different, but not so with what is going on the inside of us. Everything that is happening, this mechanism that is functioning on the inside of us, is solely based on us. So nobody was set on a pedestal or nobody was given a silver spoon in terms of the mechanism going on, or nobody was preferred over the other. This mechanism, when it is treated the way, or it is maintained the way that it's supposed to go, ends up producing the same thing regardless of which part of the planet you find yourself in. But if these maintenance precautional measures are not really taken accordingly, then you would find this body really not producing what it's supposed to produce. So if you compare to each other and it looks like this is doing well, this is not so doing well. So because we see that this is doing well and this is not doing well, then automatically we look at it like, okay, this that is doing well has some superpower, and this that is not doing well don't have any superpower. No, that is not how the Creator intended the whole thing to be. The Creator gave this mechanism the same design to everybody. The same design. Whatever is going on in your system is the same design to everybody, and has allowed it to operate accordingly based on the choices you are making as an individual and decisions that you are making. The perfection of this body's accuracy is such that it has become the bedrock for every single invention that is made on the face of the earth. Everything from the crown of your head, your crown, to your feet is being mimicked. This system is functioning so well that when men look at it, they go like, oh, look at the light way. When you close your eyes, it's dark. When you open your eyes, you see it. When you close, oh, so this is how we can create a lightning system that when you flip a switch, it closes. When you flip the same switch, it opens up. Light comes out. So light in, light out. They looked at the eyes and they developed this mechanism. When we come to the generation of, or the producing of heat, or the generation of heat, or how the whole fire system came about, is the fact that studies was made. I mean, research by our ancestors. They realized that at certain stages you can produce heat out of your body, and at certain stages you can produce coolness out of your body. So they understood the fact that the sun produces heat, the moon produces coolness, but your body reflects both of these productions, either the sun or the moon. So if the body can reflect, that we can create a mechanism that can generate, because if the body is generating heat or coldness depending on the weather pattern, then it means that we can generation of fire or heat generation. Then it goes into the generation of the thermostat system. So when something is too hot, it cuts. When something is too cold, it cuts. That's the thermostat system. This is all being copied from your body. The computer is copied from the brain. The computer is coming from the brain. The brain is sitting down. When it start processing, it becomes the mind. The camera is taken from your eyes. Your eyes give them the idea of the lighting system, also producing the cameras. Your nose senses, detectors. Your entire senses, as a matter of fact, is what brought about the detection system, the sensor system. That's why they can build a sensor here, because you can sense things. So they mirrored it. When it comes to your mouth became the microphone that you are able to speak. So they generated the microphone out of the system of the mouth and the whole the PA system. The ear is the speaker. They copied the idea of the speaker from the ear. And you see, somebody will say that, but the ear is used for listening. Speaker produces sound. You get sound out of it. The ear is not only meant for listening. The ear also produces sounds. So there are certain equipment that when you plug to your ears, you can literally diagnose your entire body. Why? Because this mechanism is listening to the noise, the voice, the sound that is coming out of your ears to what? To now magnify it in the whole machine setup to tell you how your organs are functioning by just listening to the ear. Do you understand? The whole communication system gotten from the nervous system. How the nerves and the cell passes communication, how they all interconnected with each other. The whole transportation system coming from the leg system. So we have a funny saying that two-legged beings, meaning beings with two legs. Everything. The whole engine system, the whole combustion system was copied from the human organs. Was copied from the digestive system. You put fuel into your mouth, it burns the fuel, it disintegrates into energy. The energy goes to the various compartment that the body needs. The whole combustion system. Then it comes out of your your colon. It comes out, and that is the whole exhaust system. So the human body is the mechanism that is used to translate in all the equipment that is around us. So a lot of people ask questions like, so when artificial intelligence comes, how are we going to compete with that? How are we going to get job? We're going to lose. How are you going to lose your job? First and foremost, intelligence cannot be artificial, so the word itself is wrong. Two, everything that the artificial intellect is going to operate on is coming from you. So the problem is, it's not that something is going to take your job. The problem is you have not advanced. You have not advanced this system, this mechanism that the Creator has given you. So when you look at this mechanism, you only look at the low vibrations, the things that you have been trained or taught to think that it can do. And you're not going beyond. But yet when people study this same mechanism, they are able to bring out diverse inventions from this same mechanism. And yet it's not being exploited yet. Listen, the world has no idea the things that this body can do. The things that we can do as humans, we have no idea. We haven't come to the conclusion of it. We are not even at the introduction. We have not even fully exhausted the introduction of the things the body can do. The whole chemistry department is taken from what? Melanin. So everything that is happening outside us is actually a mirror of what is happening inside us. It's the same way. Everything that is happening in this physical dimension is a mirror of what is happening in the divine realm. Divine reflect to us, we reflect to the world. That is how it works. So the outcome that this system is going to produce is entirely dependent on you. You decide what this system produces. And the outcome is dependent on what you are putting into this system. So if you put the right things into this system, the right things come out of the system. Somebody asked me, well, how exactly, how are we not unique in individual perspective? Hence, the subject that we're talking about becomes a special, unique gift that some people, group of people, are being given by the Creator on the face of the earth to only operate in this special gift called Empath. When we take a child, you have to do something to make that child unhappy, right? When we flip the switch and take an adult, you have to now do something to make the adult happy. When it was a child, you had to do something to make the child unhappy. When it came to the adult, you have to do something to make the adult happy. What is happening here? What it means is that a lot goes into the child. It means that the child is at a place where the child is already happy. So the child is happy all the time. You will literally have to go into the child and take the child's toy away. Then the child starts to cry now. Because that's all the child knows, happiness. But when it comes to the adults, you have to do a lot of things. You do a lot of things before the adult come to a place where the adult can even give you a smile like, then that's it. That's it. So the question, what happened between when you were a child and now that you were so happy going when you were a child, but now all of a sudden you are grown and you're unhappy? if anything at all, shouldn't you rather be so ecstatic by the time you get to 30 years or 40 years? If we are supposed to grow, if we are growing, if we are maturing, if we are increasing, if we're happy all the time when we were kids and you literally have to go out of your way to make us unhappy, then if you are maturing that, shouldn't you be very ecstatic? You should say, this is what you should be doing by now. You should always see joy in everything. But that is not the case. We become moody and we become sad and we become anxious and we become troubled and we become burdened and we become all these things between the process of 25 years. Because when you were 5 years happy going all the time, you are 30 years now. Yeah. This is you all the time. But we should be growing. So when you understand the mechanism the Creator has given to us, you will come to the conclusion that, wait a minute, we are not really growing as human beings. If your brain is growing, your heart is growing, the size of your legs are growing, shouldn't everything else grow with you? So if you are happy all the time, shouldn't you be super excited by now? But that is not the case. And that is where the problem is. The big question mark, what changed? We should understand that in every single human experience that we have, there's a chemical that supports that experience, or the basis of every single experience that we have as human beings has a chemical produced. A chemical is the reason why you are experiencing that particular thing at that particular given time. So when you are anxious, a chemical is produced in you. When you are hurt, a chemical is produced in you. When you are cold, every experience that is going on. When you are hot, you're feeling hot, there's chemicals producing in you. When you experience fear, there's a chemical that is producing in you. When you are ecstasy, it's a chemical that is producing. When you are happy, it's a chemical. When you are joyous, it's a chemical. When you are loved, the feeling of love is a chemical that is produced in you. So every single thing, every single experience. So in other words, when you write myself, I am this, it's a whole capsule of chemicals that is being produced constantly in your system that is giving you that expression. Hence, the example of you being excited about the child, it means the chemicals that were producing at your childhood that was making you excited all the time, all of a sudden this chemical is turning bitter, and this chemical is being distorted and destroyed and polluted. So now the chemical that brings you joy is no more being produced, is no longer being produced. So instead of you having joy all the time, you are sad all the time. What does it mean? It means the chemical of sadness is being produced in your system and you feel sad all the time, including empathy. Empathy is a human experience, and it's an experience that this chemical gets produced or released out of you, that you have this feeling of being, or the ability of being in everybody's feeling exactly how everybody is feeling, and know how everybody is sort of expressing their pain, or holding or hiding, even some suppressing. You can pick up when this chemical is produced, you can pick up even some of the emotions that people are expressing. So being an empath is simply you at that given time, the chemical in you that gives you all the experiences that we have in life. That chemical is producing that particular feeling, and you are able to sense and feel how everybody is feeling. You're able to sense, go into a crowd and sense how the crowd, and sometimes it gets so uncomfortable because the burden of the whole crowd's emotional entanglement is all coming upon you. This is basically what the empath person is. That chemical is produced in you to feel what somebody else is feeling. But my question is, shouldn't we all be feeling what everybody is feeling in the first place to begin with? Shouldn't we be doing that? Shouldn't we be expressing empathy towards every single person that surrounds us? We should be doing that. In the company of the other chemicals that gets produced in us. The Creator created this mechanism to efficiently fuel and adapt and change and react and reserve and retract and come out boldly and stay and be strategic. These chemicals are being produced in us all the time. So I guess the overly production of this particular, or when attention is given to this particular chemical that is being produced in you to feel the emotion of empathy, is what some people are calling it a special gift. Superpower. Some even call it a superpower. Well, then your entire being is a highly superpowered being. And not just you, me, everybody else around me. This is how the Creator created all of us to be. So I took pain and I wrote down some of the things that happens when somebody is operating, or when somebody, some of the things that people do, or some of the reactions that people give that is called an empathic person. So I decided to take time and write down some of the behaviors or characteristics of an individual when this particular chemical is released in you to express the empathic behavior or pattern. So one, you know what others are feeling, right? When you're an empath person, you know what others are feeling. You are able to tell what people are going through or going to say. You're able to, even before they come out, they open up their mouth to say, you are able to tell what they are going to say. It's like there's a telepathic thing going on that you're able to pick, or you're able to telekinesis somebody's words or thoughts and stuff like that. You want to help everyone around you, and this brings a sort of guilt because you're trying so hard to help everybody around you, but this will literally break you down if you operate in this dimension, because you can't help everybody. But a highly empathic person, or somebody who shows an extreme measure of empathy, it wants to be there for everybody and wants to help everybody, right? But the question is, you can't, because you break down. But these are some of the characteristics of somebody operating or somebody paying attention to this particular chemical when it's released. You're always about others' concern. You always put others' concern before your own. And that again is a big crime, because you cannot, first of all, you can't save everybody. You know, the Creator has made it such a way that you should play and do exactly what you are created here to do, and I should do. And once you are doing yours and I'm doing mine, then we shouldn't have any problem. But whereby I fail to take care of mine, and I pay attention, or I sort of become dependent on somebody else to take care of my emotions and needs and stuff like that, then I literally tell that person to stop living and stop becoming who they are meant to become and focus on me. And I know somebody will say, well, maybe that is who they are made to be. Maybe they were created to feel empathy. No, everybody is supposed to show empathy to everybody else. It's just like compassion. Everybody is supposed to show compassion to everybody else. Everybody is supposed to show love to everybody else. That is the human mechanism that the Creator created it to be. So back to trying to always put other people's concerns, because listen, you cannot give what you don't have. So when you are always putting other people's concern before your very own, you will burn out. You are not even living. That is even pretense to begin with. So the first thing you ought to do is to find yourself. Identify who you are. Fulfill that. And in the process of fulfilling, automatically, you would affect everybody around you. Say, when you're an empathic person, you don't like crowded places. You don't like populated areas because it becomes very overwhelming. Without a doubt, when you find yourself in overcrowded places all the time or populated all the time, you should know the very environment is even not good for you. That environment becomes polluted. So an empathic person, they say, has to be is somebody who always want to be on their own. Well, everybody always need to create time to separate themselves from the crowd and spend time with themselves anyway. Everybody is supposed to do this. You cannot spend your entire life being in the crowd all the time and staying there and not spending time with yourself. And it goes to my final point. Empathic people always like to be alone. You as an individual, as a human being, you should have some alone time. This shouldn't only be in when somebody is operating a superpower that is an empathic person. You should learn to spend time on your own. It is until you learn to spend time on your own that you begin to understand yourself. Then you begin to have clarity to yourself. Then you begin to understand the parts that, you see, sometimes you need to spend time out of the crowd to even know whether the path you are on is the right one. You need to spend time. Hence the reason of the introduction of meditation. You spend time to meditate. So the list goes on and on. But when you understand all the characteristics of an empathic person, you know that every single human being is supposed to behave this way to begin with. You cannot have a spiritual process, or you cannot have a spiritual awakening if you don't operate in love, if you don't operate in empathy, if you don't operate in compassion, if you don't operate in if you don't care for one another. How can you be a spiritual person? You see, part of the spiritual work, the spiritual process, is that every single day you shed off something. You cut off something. Every single day. When you wake up in a day, you should always make sure you go back to sleep that day, shedding off something that you had before the day began. What am I talking about shedding off? Negativity. Why do you need to share off this negativity? Because when you were not polluted with all this negativity, you were a happy person all the time. The world happened to you. Society happened to you. The environment happened to you. So you end up spending time becoming what the society has made you to be, instead of internalizing who you are and bringing out who you are. So it's like everything else in this society is dumped upon you, and you become a burden to everybody around you. If you learn to pay attention to what is going on inside, what is going on around you, if you just pay a little attention to this, then you will learn that, okay, I have picked up a lot of things that I don't need. So I need to shut off the negative thoughts. I need to shut off fear. I need to shut off anxiety. I need to shut off depression. When you learn to start shutting off these things, even when you do this for 3 months, I bet to tell you, I don't care where your life is. Within 3 months, when you spend time every single day deciding to shut off something, in 3 months' time, your life will be beautiful, and moving on from the 3 months is nothing but greatness. This is what a spiritual process is all about. And this is how our ancestors lived. So our ancestors will be in the community, in the society, and everybody is everybody's business. You can leave your children, go to work. By the time you come back, somebody would have taken care of your children, bathed your children, fed your children. You just come back and put them to sleep. Because everybody was showing compassion to each other. Everybody was showing empathy to each other. Everybody was their neighbor's keeper. When one person wants to build a house, the whole community gathers around, and we build this house for this person. Tomorrow we build another house. So by the time you realize the whole community have built houses for everybody with no labor costs, with no tax, no nothing. You don't have to pay anything. And this is the community that we are building. So these chemicals were put in us because the Creator knew we needed these chemicals to be released when certain things are taken into the system. So if you are talking about spirituality, if you are talking about awakening, if you are talking about waking up from the lies, you cannot go through an entire day without shedding off something. You cannot. You have to literally come back to that place as a child where you were fearless, where you were happy all the time, where you took risks, you were willing to try anything, anytime. One sad thing about our world today is that we are too busy, caught up in our own self, that we make everything about us. It's very sad. Everything we do is about me, self, I. We don't speak the language of we anymore. We don't speak the language of us anymore. We don't speak the language of together anymore. So we become very selfish beings instead of becoming a very selfless being. Think about it. If we are living in a society, in a community where everybody, every single person in this community was selfless, would showing empathy or being an empath person be any news? No, because everybody will be caring for everybody. But we are too caught up in our own. If whatever it is not bringing a direct benefit, a direct blessing to us as an individual, to you as an individual, you're not getting involved. If you are not supporting a cause that you personally are not getting something out of, that's not you. What am I getting out of this? This is the world that we are living in. What am I getting? We are not selfless. We are selfish. We don't feel the pain of anybody. We don't feel the pain of people going. We don't feel anything. We care less about everything else. And that is why the world is what it is today. Because we don't care about it. We don't care about even the next human being. How are we going to care about the trees? How are we going to care about the air? How are we going to care about the rivers that we pollute, the seas that we pollute? How are we going to care about this body? You don't care about your own body. How can you care for somebody else? So that's the sad thing, but that is the world that we live in now. We care less about everything going on around us. So instead of us being sensitive to everything else happening around us, we have become very senseless. So our conversations are senseless. We don't sense anything in our conversation. Our conversations have become lifeless. There's no life in our conversation. We think of death first before we think about life. Or we think about how we can tear down and destroy this and destroy that. So we don't show empathy. We don't show compassion. We don't show love. Because it's all about us. And even if you cared enough to know what happens and goes on in this body, at least that would literally translate into your very essence, and your essence will literally indirectly bless everything about you. But you don't even pay attention to this very body. That is the sad thing. So when we see somebody show a little love, oh, this person is operating in a superpower. This person is operating in this superpower called love. This person is happy. Now, even when you get happy all the time, somebody asks you a question, why are you happy all the time? Why are you laughing all the time? Somebody has a problem with you laughing all the time, with you excited all the time. How is that a problem? When you start laughing at them, people go, are you okay? Is everything okay with you? We are living in a society, you cannot laugh anymore. The way we are is the way we have decided to handle this mechanism, this beautiful mechanism the Creator created, and hence why we are getting the result that we are getting. When most people use the word, I am very sensitive, it will shock you. Majority of the time, it's not talk about sensitivity with the things that are happening around us. They use the word, I'm very sensitive to self. 90% of the time, when they say I'm very sensitive, it's talk about self. I'm very sensitive. When you talk about me this way, I'll be upset when you do it. I'm very sensitive. It's self. It still comes back to self. Being sensitive. What's the word sense? Sensing, sensitive. Being sensitive in the environment. So when you are sensitive alone, you will not leave your burden for anybody to carry for you. Well, I'm a very sensitive person. I like people who like me. Self, it's all about you. You care less about the person liking you, how the person also feels. You're all into you. That is not spiritual. In spirituality, the first place you look at is how your personality is blessing the things around you. That is the first school of spirituality. Meaning, you are not becoming spiritual because of what you would gain. But you're becoming spiritual because of what you would give. Because of what you would give. That is why you become spiritual. Not because of what you would get. So when this society evolves into a spiritual place, then we would begin to give a lot of things to each other without necessarily expecting anything to be given back to us. That is what real giving is. Giving is when you let out, you let go, you let loose without necessarily looking at anything to get back at you. The best platform of life that all of us should find ourselves in is this platform where you pay attention to everything around you. It's when you are sensitive to everything evolving and happening around you. Do you think if I'm sensitive enough, not the selfish way, but I'm literally sensitive enough, caring about everything that is going on around me, I would ever offend a brother? Do you think I would ever offend a sister? Do you think I'll have lies between my teeth? No. No. We need to start paying attention to everything around us. So when it comes to our spirituality, like I said, it's all about giving. Our fathers taught us that pay attention to every single detail happening around you, because there is life in every single thing happening around you. We understand that the sustenance of this very life is as a result of how you treat every single thing around you. Because we all depend on life. If I depend on life, you depend on life, then we would be for life. We would be pro-life, not pro-death. We'll be looking at and showing that everything around us is alive. Everything around us is living. This is the platform of life that all of us have to be on, where detail is paid on everything going on around us. When you pay detail to everything that is going on around us, you don't hurt somebody. You don't destroy somebody. You uplift somebody. When you spend your days uplifting somebody, when I uplift you, you uplift. That's why I love about our community, the Zoom community, because it's becoming a place where it's full of joy and full of love, and it's full of uplifting and blessing each other. This is the society that we are supposed to. So you are totally sensitive. You are empathic about what is happening around you. You care for it. When you are living that life, you don't live for the spoils. No. It's either you live to protect, defend, or you live for sustenance. When you are living for sustenance, you don't abuse things. So like when we go to the forest, the animals don't kill if it's either not for food or for protection. These two things. Who are the ones destroying the forest? Us. Who are the ones destroying the environment? Us. Who are the ones destroying nature? Us. So when people ask the question, what is wrong with this world? The question is, or what should be said? Or let me even answer the question. You are wrong with you are wrong with this world. You. Everything that is going bad in this world is man. Man is the biggest problem to this world. Not even the animals. Because it's sad, because if we are supposed to be better than the animals, and the animals only hunt when they are hungry, or defend them, only fight when they are defending themselves, shouldn't we be doing better? Shouldn't we be doing better? If we are better than the animals, of course we are. Why are we killing senselessly? We kill the trees, we kill the flowers, we kill the ants, we kill the flies, we kill everything around us, forgetting that every single thing around us is a perfect system that the Creator has created to ensure. Let me ask you a simple question. When was the last time you saw a butterfly? When was the last time you saw a butterfly around? In your house, in your compound. When was the last time you saw a butterfly? Do you know when butterfly comes around? When the flowers are blooming. When the flowers are blossoming. Do you know how to attract butterflies into your house? When you grow flowers. This is when you become sensitive. You're even caring for the flower. You're caring for the fly. You're caring for the bee. You say, oh, okay, this will give this. You come on. This world will be an amazing place when we learn to live for life and not for self. When we don't self-destruct. Because when I self-destruct, and I become a burden to somebody, and somebody have to go the extra mile to feel my pain, feel my distraction, then I become a burden. But when we learn to take care of ourselves, we don't become burdens to anybody. So that person that is tagged, that the empath person that is living this super life, this super gifted, this super ability, eventually becomes everybody. Greed, competition is what is putting the world at where it is. The hunt for resources, the hunt for self, power drunk, the hunt for gain, selfish gain, is what is putting the world at where it is now. If everybody is enjoying what the Creator has distributed, and perhaps if you don't have You learn how to multiply, because we are supposed to be fruitful and multiply, right? We're supposed to multiply in this dimension. Do you know there are laws according to our spirituality? There are laws. You cannot go to the forest and cut any tree, cut any herb, kill any. There are certain animals that you are not supposed to kill, because what? You are connected to that animal. The totem of that animal is you. We have a saying in our language called Onipa ni nuane nipa. Onipa. Onipa means a human being has the fellow human being as the sibling. Onipa ni nuane nipa. So if I am your sibling and you are mine, then I would feel for you and you would feel for me. And you would make sure you don't do things that destroy, because I am your brother. You see, when we begin to understand things from this perspective, then we will live for everybody else and everybody else will live for us, and we would demonstrate the same traits that we were demonstrating when we were kids. That is when we start operating spiritually. The minute you become spiritual, you operate in all the senses and you operate in all the chemicals the body is naturally producing. And we make this world a beautiful place. Until we come to this platform of being sensitive to everything, being compassionate to everything, being empathic to everything, caring for everything that is around us, we have not achieved and we have not arrived at spirituality, and we are failing. And I said we can't save the whole world, but if we can save our community, if you can save your house, then you have done a great job. So this is my personal take about being an empath. If you're an empath person, you are here. This is my version about being an empath person. This is my understanding to it. If you learn to live life on this platform of observing and understanding everything that is happening in you, happening with you, then everybody else will not only show empathy, but love, passion, care, understanding, knowledge in sensing everything around us. So we become sensitive in sense. We are using our senses to observe everything around us and not destroy everything around us. Have a great evening, guys. I love you.